Hi, welcome to this pandemic slash gas mask video. I know many people want to know if masks work with COVID or they don't, or what type of masks work more than others, and um, in what others don't work. So I only have one respirators, but the masks that I will be describing are masks that most people wear. So let's start with the masks that people wear, like those surgical masks. Do they prevent COVID? No, they don't. Do they help? Not really, no. Those masks were designed for surgeons. As you can see, one side is blue and another is white. Well, the blue goes outside and the white goes in. So the blue should be facing like this, and that part of the mask is meant to keep the germs that you breathe out from leaving the mask. So while the surgeon or nurses are operating, the germs don't infect the patients, thus cause death or a major lawsuit. So that's what those masks were meant for, not to keep you safe from any viruses or bacteria. Let's talk about the N95 masks. Those are thicker. Now, uh, Fauci is saying, well, you should wear two masks. I'm here to tell you, no, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah, I am no doctor, but I do have an IQ about 145, so I know how viruses and bacteria work more than the average person, and you don't need to wear two masks. All you need to wear are this. Not this particular model, but gas masks. You want something that actually works, go out and buy yourself a respirator, okay? And with it, buy an in-date filter or a filter that's not too old. Um, like this filter is 5 years out of date. It expired in 2016, but um, the particulate filter is still intact, and some of the charcoal in it is still good. Um, you can basically tell that because when you shake it from far out, you can't hear it up until like here, which means some of the charcoal's still bad, but some of it's still good. I obviously wouldn't use this against chemical warfare agents. I'm currently in the process of buying in-date filters from Mira Safety. Um, this is just my virus filter, and this is a CBRN filter, chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. Hence, the biological part of the filter will protect you from any viruses and bacteria known to man. Um, unless if there's a new strand of a virus that's so tiny that not even these would work, then you would have to use a self-contained breathing apparatus um, for the work, oxygen tanks and things. But those N95 masks, do they work? Not really. I mean, they do and they don't. They keep some of the virus particles out, but not all of it. What about the paint masks? Well, the problem with the paint mask is that the virus, I'm sorry, can be transmitted to the eye. So let's say if you touch a doorknob and some of the virus is on your finger and you go to itch your eye, well, that virus can go through your eye, thus causing an infection within a few days. Thus, now you have the virus. So those paint masks, at least, unless if you wear goggles, um, good goggles, not the cheap kind. The filters for those paint masks are not rated for viruses. Now, yes, they do have a um, a particulate filter. I believe those contain P3s. Some do, some don't. I know some have P1, and P1 is just not enough. P2 is not enough. P3, always buy P3. Now, obviously, in all gas mask filters have a P3 section, which is this white stuff. If you see it, that is a P3. That's the first filter section of a filter. And what this does is that it catches particulates, whether it's chemical particulates, asbestos, viral, bacterial, nuclear, anything that gets through here is hit. It has to go through 2 to 3 very thin layers of what's it called? Of like a very fine strand of not cotton. I don't know the name of it, but after it goes through there, it hits the charcoal. Now, obviously, if you're using a filter that's really out of date, I'm not talking about 5 years ago, I'm talking about like 10 years or more. Some of the charcoal could still be good, but would you really want to risk it? And then after that, it goes through 2 to 3 more layers of like a fine purification system to keep the charcoal in and to filter the charcoal dust out if there is any. And then it comes out of here. This purifies it more. So the whole point of a filter is to purify the air around you from any contaminants. Yeah, it's still good. So the masks that people are wearing are not going to work. They can shove as much propaganda down your throat as they want, but they're not going to work. It might prevent some of the virus, but not all of it. You want something that will prevent all of it? Buy a mask like this. So, let's say you buy a gas mask, okay? This is a voice diaphragm. This amplifies my voice, so you can hear me better. This is the filter. Obviously, you put this on wherever the port might be. The port on this mask just happens to be here. Now, obviously, if you're a left-handed shooter, you don't want to buy this mask because, well, there's a filter in your way. But if you're just buying the mask to keep you safe from like COVID, or if you're a prepper, so just buy a gas mask for any universal purpose. It'll work. Now, there's a thing to note about masks. There's NATO and Gauss, okay? And then there's a thing called normalized threading. And I will explain all of this. Normalized threading, one, is, and this mask has a normalized thread, which I did not know up until a day or two ago. That means that NATO, this is a NATO thread, will be able to screw in and you can use it. Gauss, here I will show you, is Russian. Now, for all you people that might know, this is a Russian GP5. This has a Gauss thread. Well, NATO threads don't match Gauss, so the threading strips, and you risk the potential of damaging the mask threads. Well, what normalized threadings do is that it modifies the threads of NATO and Gauss and intermingle them together, where they, as you can see, screws in just fine. They use a certain threading pattern that catches the NATO filter and the Gauss filter, but providing an airtight seal with both. That is a normalized thread. Now, some masks, as what I just showed you, these are the most common masks out on the market. A Russian GP5. Do not buy these. Reason why? Most masks comes with this filter. Do not breathe through this filter. Now, I have breathed through it when I was younger, but I haven't breathed through filters like this in years, and I'm not going to anymore. The problem with certain Russian masks is that they contain asbestos. Not the mask itself, but the filter. Like this filter contains, I believe, 5 to 12% asbestos. Now, if the filter is in good condition like this, the chances of you breathing in asbestos are quite low because it has to go through the charcoal layer and then through the last layer, which um, purifies the air more. So and it's also meant to keep the charcoal in there from not leaking out. But I wouldn't risk it at all. Do not breathe through these filters. If you order a mask like this, you're wasting your money. It is possible to buy filters like this, like from Mirror Safety. Mirror Safety sells filters not like this. They do not contain asbestos, but they are modern Russian filters. They filter out CO2 and CBRN agents. If CBRN, like I said, is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear. But those are $89 a pop. So if you don't have a lot of money to spend, I would heavily advise you to avoid masks like these, because if you buy a old Soviet mask, you're going to have to pay an arm and a leg for a in-date Russian filter. So do those conventional masks work, that you see people wear? Some wear a more airtight type of painter's mask. I mean, yes, again, the problem is if you touch your eyes and you touch a surface that does have the virus on it and you touch your eyes, guess what? Now you're screwed, because now you have it. I would recommend everyone to stop wearing those stupid masks and start wearing something like this. This mask is top grade stuff here. Now, I did pay $60 for it. It's a large, it's Serbian, and this is well built. So $60 for this mask was a really good price, and it was worth it. Buy a NATO mask. Now, just if you want to buy, like I said, a mask that's from NATO, which you should, because 95 to 92% of all gas masks, guess what, use NATO threading. Like I said, there's a few exceptions, and this mask just has to be one of them. It has a normalized thread, so it fits Russian and NATO. But those masks that have that threading is quite difficult to find. You can still find it, but it's quite challenging. Now, if you're curious on the name of this mask, this is the Serbian M2FV. This is what the Serbian military used from 1995 all the way, I believe, to 2000. And then it got replaced. There is nothing wrong with this mask. If people are saying surplus masks has reached its shelf life, no, it hasn't. If the mask has been kept in good condition and it still works, and everything on the mask is functional, which, by the way, this is, it's still usable. Now, if you have the money, fine, buy a brand new mask. But, someone like me, who can't afford, spending almost $300 on a mask, I had to resort to buying something like this. And I'm happy that I did, because this mask, I'm a prepper, hence my channel. This mask is made to last the apocalypse. The rubber on this thing is not going to crack anytime soon. And if you want to know on how to store gas masks properly, store them in a dark, cool environment. Make sure that older gas masks aren't sitting out in the sun all day. Now, if you wear these, obviously, every time when you go out, it's not going to crack. It has to sit out in the sun, and it has to hit the sun every day for hours on end. So, unless if you're construction, and by my understanding, those types of jobs aren't really functional right now. Some are, but most aren't because of the lockdowns. Again, this has to be in direct sunlight every day. Well, this isn't, and I store it properly. I store it in my gas mask satchel, which I'm planning on buying a new satchel, and I only wear this when I go out. Sometimes I test fit, still check the mask. Do masks work against COVID? When we're talking about the regular masks that people are wearing, no, they don't. If we're talking about, like, this stuff, and this, if you can find, filters for it, yes, they do work. But make sure that the filter is relatively in date, Now, obviously, this is not in date, but it's still functional, so I'm using it because I don't have any modern filters yet. I will here soon, though. So once I buy modern filters, I'll stop using this and start using the modern filters. Now, there will be a pandemic after COVID. That's not a conspiracy. That's what Bill Gates and everyone else is saying. This channel avoids politics at all costs because it's just about prepping and survival, and that's it. So, yeah. But do masks work? Yes, they do, as long as it's this. You can wear goggles, but I would not trust them. Personally, just buy a full-on face respirator. Um, like a real respirator that takes filters like these. Remember, buy NATO. NATO or normalized. Those are the only two that you should buy. Because to buy modern, in-date Russian filters, very costly. But if you do have that money, I will link you to mirrorsafety.com that sells Russian filters without asbestos. So these filters are asbestos free. But these filters are special, which is why I like them more expensive. Yes, they protect you from CBRN agents, but they also protect you from carbon dioxide. I'm sorry, carbon monoxide. I'm sorry, CO2. And it's rated up to 15 minutes with CO2. Now, the filter is meant for you to evacuate, not just stay, in one place. But if you happen to do it, it'll still work. So that's why the Russian filter is more expensive. Those filters have the same threading as this does, GOST. So this will not fit on a standard NATO mask. Unless if it's normalized threading like this, it won't work. But if you have a Soviet mask and you're looking for in-date filters, I will provide a link down below. If you guys have any further questions, whether if masks work or not, shoot me, type me comments down below. If you want me to make a part 2 of this video, I will. But yeah, so normal masks don't work. If you want something that will work and reliable and that'll save your life, buy a mask like this. Now, I will be linking you an eBay site from a seller. Now, it's not the seller that I bought it from because this was the last one. But a seller that sells the same mask. This is a top grade mask. So there's small, medium, and large. S is small, M is medium, and V is Serbian. V is large. I have a big head, and this fits me perfectly. So I hope you guys stay safe, stay vigilant, question everything, and if you want me to make a part 2, just let me know, and I will do a more in-depth review on masks. I'll see you guys on the next one. God bless.